all cryptocurrencies right now hovering on the edge of support. Everybody's sitting back wondering, is the big dip coming? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe and like on the way in, and let's jump into this Bitcoin video. Everybody, I don't know. We've been talking about a dip as we're just running. This is a weekly chart running into this area of all-time highs. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, the possibilities of it, because the similarities of now and back in that last bull market, entering into that bull market, are so apparent. They're right in front of our eyes. I'm not going to sit there and dissect that. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. You know what that chart looks like. You know what the weekly chart looks like. You know this RSI is at that 83 area I've talked about for so long. And it's crazy to see the potential for huge resistance, for a huge drop. And in the back of my mind, everybody, and I want to just throw this out there to be completely transparent with you. In the back of my mind, and I just tweeted this, I have Fiat ready. It's just ready. And this is the scenario that I wait for. This is why I do technical analysis, for those dip scenarios. And I could totally see, I can see it. I can envision the dip. I can envision it to the 618 line of this Fibonacci retracement. You might be sick of me talking about that, but I can see that happening into the 13,000s. It's such a bullish setup. It's nothing to, be discouraged about. That's for sure. And it's in the back of my mind. But there's a case for the bulls, everybody, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. So if you only like to hear the bullishness, you're going to. So relax. So let's do it. Let's check this daily chart out. Now, Bitcoin, you can see, just going crazy for a while now. And you can just see higher highs, higher lows. We've talked about it. And now I want to illustrate something. You see this swing high, and this was November 24th, and this previous swing high, higher high. You see that. And you might see a lot of chartists out there talking about some bearish divergence here. You see this RSI now, comparatively to that. We're not seeing higher highs. We're seeing actual swing high is a lower high, right? So as this higher high is happening up here in the charts, we have this lower high happening on the RSI, a sign of potential bearish divergence, Bitcoin getting ready to tank. And it truly could, but don't be deceived by this one thing, this one indicator. And I want to zoom out on the chart and I want to show you something. I want to go back to actually the spring of 2019. Before Bitcoin, went crazy that summer and we hit, around $14,000. A very similar setup back then. Bitcoin, getting overbought in that daily chart, put in this swing high, and then it put in another swing high, higher high. But at the same time, this RSI down here looking very similar to what we just saw, a lower high as that was happening. And it did lead to a dip. And we might get something like that on the short term here. We're going to talk about that on the 6 hour, but it continued to the upside. This wasn't even a midterm dip. This was like a 2-day dip. It wasn't one of these things where it's just tanking. And so don't be so deceived by just tracking one simple indicator. In this case, this RSI and what's happening there. There's still room for the upside. Even on the weekly oscillator, there's room for the upside on that weekly chart. Now, let's dissect what is happening on the 6 hour charts. Check this clip out from the other day. So we have really two short-term resistance, this trend line here, which is currently right around 19,200 down to $18,800 or so. Can Bitcoin continue to close 6 hour candles above that area? And that's a very small price range, right? So that is so important, everybody, because Bitcoin, as you know, when I was doing that video, what was that, yesterday, right? That was yesterday. Bitcoin's making moves, 19,300, and testing some key areas. And this is what has transpired since then. Let's just first talk about that Fibonacci retracement. When I did the video, Bitcoin broke through, right? And we're talking about Bitcoin needs separation, especially at this confluent resistance area, this trend line here, this purple trend line you see. It didn't happen. And short term, that's the first bearish signal. And what we talked about was what happens in this range. Can Bitcoin see support? Can we continue getting closes above the 786 line on this Fibonacci retracement? It's no surprise we retraced to this Fibonacci retracement to at least test it for support. And I would say if you zoom in here, it's testing it. It really is testing it for support. You can see we wicked below it very quickly. Not that long ago. That was earlier today. But since then, Bitcoin truly has, I mean, it's essentially stayed above the 786 line. It's essentially stayed above this Fibonacci retracement. And that's what we're looking for. This is the first. So breaking through this and failing support here is the first sign of bearishness. But if we can continue to stay above the 786 line, that's the first sign of bullishness. Now, you might be like, well, Dan, that doesn't offer me anything. Well, it offers you data to watch in the coming hours ahead, and that's what I'm doing. That's what we can all do. If you see Bitcoin fall through, you have to start getting a little nervous, and that's the next thing I want to talk about. If it does fall through, is there any support? I mean, or is that it? Is it game over? And there is support, and I want to show you what this looks like. It ties into some things. So Fibonacci retracement now, from the swing low to the swing high, we have our support area. This could be a higher low from the low that we put in basically, November 26 or so. So this would be that support area you'd watch. If Bitcoin breaks this area, this is, probably more of a midterm, it's going to last a little longer dip, the kind of dip that I'm anticipating to purchase more Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So we're talking about 17,600 to right around $17,000. And that's the support area. If you're keen on buying a dip, if that breaks, you might get that discount on Bitcoin if that breaks to the downside. To give you an idea what that's looking like from where Bitcoin is right now, we're talking about, a 6 to 10% dip for Bitcoin. That can happen so quick. You all know that can happen so quick, but we're not there yet, right? We're still actually testing this Fibonacci retracement that Bitcoin, for a moment, bullishly broke through. So there's just a lot of resistance in this very small range right now from the 786 line to this trend line, like 4 to 5%. What does Bitcoin do here? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for these confirmations. It's the whole point of technical analysis. I'm not going to sit here and tell you which direction Bitcoin's going to go from now, but I can tell you this support at the 786 line, at least right now as I do this video, is good. Can Bitcoin get back above the $19,000 area and start testing all-time highs, essentially, again, testing this upper trend line, this lower trend line of this rising channel that we've been tracking. Now, lastly, what I want to show you is this. Whether Bitcoin stays here and bounces up, right, to this resistance area, we're talking $20,000, whether that happens or Bitcoin actually continues down and tests this Fibonacci retracement we just talked about, maybe we come back down and test that area, and maybe we get support, right? So one of these types of deals, a bounce. So whether we get that or we get a bounce now and Bitcoin goes up, we have something in play, and I want to just chart it for you. And this could be a bullish case for Bitcoin on the short term. And we have a potential inverse head and shoulders. So a left shoulder, we have the head, and we have right shoulder. I don't know. Is it going to be right here? Could it be down here? That's what we'll track. But let's put it where it is right now at that Fibonacci support area, right shoulder. So can Bitcoin make a move to complete this right shoulder, breakout target, $24,000? I feel like we have a lot of pattern targets, everybody, and really starting months ago with this inverse head and shoulders on the weekly chart. I don't know if you have seen those videos that I did a while ago on this inverse head and shoulders. There's a neckline right around 10,500, breakout target right around $24,000, and we have other targets upwards of $25,000. So there's a lot of targets in that vicinity. It would be very interesting to see if Bitcoin can actually get the momentum to break through, above 20,000 and hit those areas. Time will tell, but this is just another bullish setup for Bitcoin potentially in play. These things we have to just track. Again, Bitcoin just really testing key areas. And the other thing that I just want to throw out there is keep watching altcoins. And I talked about these areas. So here's Litecoin. This was a Fibonacci retracement. It's the swing high, the one that we're just looking at Bitcoin, to the swing low, up to this area. This is how altcoins are interacting here. So Litecoin as well, testing this very key Fibonacci retracement. Is that going to fail? We talked about Dash. You can see Dash has already failed. Dash actually broke through barely, came back down. You can go look at Cardano. Cardano has failed. You can look at Ethereum. Ethereum testing it right now. So what is going to happen with these altcoins in terms of this Fibonacci retracement area as well. You want to watch these areas. So there's a lot of different things happening on the screen, everybody. For me, at the end of the day, I'm watching this area. Can Bitcoin make a move to test this trend line area where there seems just to be a lot of resistance? It's the neckline of this potential inverse head and shoulders we just talked about, right? So this neckline right here, and this lower trend line here of this rising channel, Bitcoin almost broke above and stayed above, but it didn't. So is Bitcoin going to do it again? A lot of confluent resistance. I mean, I'll just say it. The most resistance right now is $20,000. So it's a big mental resistance area as well. That's what I'm watching on the charts, everybody. Let's see what happens. All I know is one thing. I'll enjoy the gains. I'll enjoy the ride if Bitcoin breaks through. If Bitcoin doesn't and we get a dip and these charts play out and we're testing this very key area in the 13,000s, pretty much at this point, you see the 20-week moving average has caught up. So much support there. If Bitcoin goes there, I'm going to be buying. Simple as that. And that's pretty much what I'm anticipating if that happens. I'm not saying it's going to, but I'm ready for it. I hope you are too. I appreciate you cruising by. If you are not a subscriber, hit that subscribe. Hit that like button on the way out. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.